Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Morales. So my group did the finishing school, and we finally got to interview them because they're back from New York. Hooray! And so we had a really deep discussion, as you can see by all my notes on them. There it is. So I'm just gonna talk about them for a little bit. The finishing school is basically a group of artists made up of 5 people, and they do collective art. So they've done like the mold project where they hold um, little pieces of food in jars and like see how they decay with preservatives and without preservatives. They've done projects like Go, which was engaging the audience, and it was like having them bring in stuff and put it in their gallery and explain their thoughts and ideas, but I'll go more in depth on that one. So that's finishing school in general. They like to address economic, political, and social issues, which I think is great because art is what we take from life, and hey, that works. So I'm going to talk about some other projects, like the Patriot Library, which was in response to the Patriot Act, where certain book titles and certain subjects were pegged as, I don't know, dangerous to read. Back, I think it was 2007. I believe that act was in place, and so there was outrage about that, and the finishing school was describing to us that a librarian from Oakland contacted them and was like, "Hey, do a project for us," and we're like, "Great, sounds awesome." So they started doing that, and so the Patriot Library was basically like, it was set up like a library, and then they would have these librarians from Oakland come in and just like sit there and answer these questions that anyone who was going through the gallery would ask. So they were really honest and accurate with their info, much like a reference book. And so the finishing school started exploring the limits of a librarian. Like, the librarians will always give you the answer. They're honest and they have their ethics, but there are certain topics that they'll be a little more reluctant. Like, at one point they called in a librarian and was like, "Hey, how do we make a bomb to blow up a house?" And so that took a while, but they got the answer. So that was just exploring that. Um, so let me find out where the rest are. Okay, so, and their other project that they described in depth about was Go, which I kind of went over. And that was where they pretty much asked the audience to go out and bring back little pieces of things that they found, um, tweet their ideas, what they thought about anything. So it was just like engaging that audience to put their own art, to put what they like in there, put their own thoughts and ideas. So it was giving agency to the general public to create art, which I think is great because that kind of like takes down that border of what's art and who deserves to be an artist. I should say artiste. Um, yeah. So they like to engage the public. At one point, one of the groups, I don't remember, I think it was the other group, the other finishing school, 9 AMers, who asked the finishing school, since they have a lot of participants, do they like to create a community? And what I found was really interesting because they said no, they like the idea of a coalition, not a community. They like to have that idea of building a coalition where temporarily everyone comes together and then they build this thing, they do this thing, and then they go back to their world. They like that idea of just being able to engage people for a little while and then go off. And I don't know, I think it's interesting that they don't like building a community, they just like building a coalition, because those two are really different and not what I would typically expect. So yeah. Okay, so those were the 3 main points. I could talk forever, but there's a limit. Okay. So my group already did our project. I mean, like, we sketched it out and we started building it a little bit. And so I think what we're gonna do now, because the finishing school gave us some key points that I think are vital to what they want to convey, like engaging the audience and just doing art for itself. Like, they described their projects as coming out of something that they're interested in and stuff that they like to do and stuff that they want to talk about. Like, they did executive order karaoke because they didn't like the executive orders President George Bush was doing. So yeah, so that's what they do. And so they pretty much gave us a lot of free leeway. We might be incorporating the Go project a little more. I have to talk to my group members. Yeah, because I think that's a really key point in playing with that. And at one point, I asked them what they would like to see in a virtual reality gallery, and they thought playing with space and places would be really cool. And Go, they described it as being a really great project for that. So we're probably going to incorporate Go a little more and try to tie everything together. So it's going to be great. I can't wait to see. I got to work on Project 6 now. Alright, thanks.